Hi, and welcome back to Suspicious Minds. My name is Nini, and on here I talk about true crime, both solved and unsolved. I talk about disappearances, and then we will still get to the generally creepy stuff. The case that I'm going to look at today is something that really stood with me since I learned about it, and not only because it was so horrendous, but because it really seemed like a solvable case when it happened. The case is about the murder of Lindsay Buziak. She was 24 years old when, in 2008, she was mercilessly slaughtered in an open house that she was showing to clients. The year is 2008. Some days when I refer back to 2008, it sounds like yesterday, but then other times it feels like a lifetime ago. Can you remember where you were in 2008? And do you remember the songs that were playing on the radio? The number one on the Billboard, the song of the year, was Low by Flo Rida. Number two was Leona Lewis with Bleeding Love. And number three was one of my favorite singers, Alicia Keys, with No One. On the cinema scene, two very big movies were released. The one was The Dark Knight, one of the Batman movies. It was the highest grossing film of 2008. And the movie that won for Best Picture of the Year was Slumdog Millionaire. In the world, Barack Obama became the very first black president of the United States of America. On the 22nd of January 2008, the housekeeper of the very talented actor Heath Ledger found him unresponsive in his living room. He was later declared deceased, and the reason for his passing was due to an accidental overdose. It was a very big shock for the art and theatre and movie community. Heath is still mourned in his circles even today. In Canada, in Montreal, a false bomb threat caused the Victoria Bridge to be closed for 4.5 hours. That is the longest period of time at that stage that it has been closed, and that caused major challenges for the community around it. And our case today, the case of Lindsay Buziak, takes place in Canada, in British Columbia. Lindsay Buziak was born on the 2nd of November in 1983 to parents Jeff and Evelyn Buziak. Her sister Sarah came in 1986. And they were a very happy and normal family. They created a lot of memories together. But in the early 1990s, Jeff and Evelyn decided to split up. What I haven't mentioned yet is that Jeff was in the real estate business and Evelyn was a homemaker. The kids stayed with mom mostly after the separation, but Jeff still had a very big part to play in the girls' lives. Lindsay decided that she wanted to follow in the footsteps of her father, and she wanted to become a real estate agent. She signed up for the course, she joined the business school, and it was in 2005 at one of the conferences that she met a guy with the name of Jason Zalo. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the surname correctly, but it will be on your screen, and I will refer to him as Jason. Jason later on said that the two of them just clicked, and they had a lot of fun at this conference. It was just instant connection for the two of them. In 2006, Lindsay graduated to become a real estate agent, and this was a really big thing because she was one of only 25 people in that area under the age of 25 to become a real estate agent. So she was a very driven young lady, and she really wanted to make a success. I've looked at a lot of videos from her father, her mother, her sister, and her, and also read a lot of things. They were a very dynamic family. I can just see that Lindsay was that, I'm going to ace this, I'm going to be the best at this. That is what she started pursuing, is to become the best real estate agent in her agency. Even though Lindsay and Jason met at the conference in 2005, it doesn't sound like they were a couple from there on. They still moved in the same circles, still saw each other in their town. Yet in 2006, after she graduated, that is when she met up with Jason again in a chance encounter. And one of her friends later said that Lindsay was so enamored with the mother of Jason as well, because Jason's mother was an amazing real estate agent. She owned, as far as I understand, her own real estate agency, and Jason was working for his mother. And one of the very important things, and this is going to come up later, is that Jason did not use illegal substances. And that is what Lindsay said, what was the most attractive of him to her. Jason's mom was also very happy with Lindsay and her relationship with Jason. They even spent date nights together, the mom and Lindsay. It was sometime later in their relationship that Jason's mom bought a lake house. Now, some sources say that she bought the lake house for Jason and Lindsay, and other sources say she just bought the house. She saw it as a good property, a good investment, and she invited the kids to come over and stay whenever they wanted to. However, Lindsay's father, who was a very caring, he's still a very caring and loving and protective father, I get the sense that he doesn't like the Zalos. That's just what I'm gathering from what I've read. And he felt that Jason's mom is trying to steal Lindsay away from him. Now that she's living with him, she's been with her mom so long, but now he's going to lose her. Lindsay joined the very famous Remax property brand, and it was an agency where Jason's mom worked, Jason worked there, and Jason's brother Ryan also worked there. And this was also a contentious point, sounds like it, that Lindsay's father did not like this. It's also very evident that Sarah, Lindsay's sister, and Evelyn, the mother, do not agree with Lindsay's father on his view of the Zalos. They heard from Lindsay only positive things, and they feel that whatever gestures were made was done in good faith and in a good heart towards Lindsay. In 2007, according to Lindsay's father, Lindsay told him that she is going to break up with Jason because Jason does not have the same ambition as she does, and that she felt that Jason will be dragging her behind. Evelyn and Sarah said that is definitely not the truth. They went on holiday together with Jason and Lindsay in December of 2007, and they said that Jason treated Lindsay like a princess. And this then brings us to what the police thought was the start of this case, yet there are twists and turns that you did not see coming. On the 1st of February 2008, Lindsay received a call on her cell phone with the area code 778. Now, I Googled it because I'm not familiar with the Canadian codes, and it indicated that that person called from British Columbia, which is where they were staying. It was a lady, and Lindsay said that the caller had a very thick accent, like a Spanish speaking person, but that it sounded at times as if this person is pretending to be Spanish. This lady apparently did give a name to Lindsay, but Lindsay never wrote it down. She referred to this client as $1 million client. This lady told her that her husband is being transferred to Vancouver and they need $1 million property. She gave a very precise description of what they were looking for, and as I always say, Lindsay had red flags. She felt uncomfortable with this. She told everybody, she said, it sounds too good to be true. It sounds fantastic, but I don't trust this. It's a very weird, because when she asked this lady, why did you choose me? Because remember, Lindsay was still young. She hasn't sold a lot of property. She was good with what she was doing, but she wasn't well known. And the lady said to her, we were referred to you by someone. Lindsay asked her, who referred you? And she just talked it away. So Lindsay said that sure, she's going to look for this $1 million property. The Spanish caller said to her that she cannot call her. This lady will phone Lindsay again to make sure when and where they will be meeting each other. She actually gave Lindsay a window of time that they are available because her husband was flying in from wherever she mentioned. So it was a very strange and eerie phone call, yet Lindsay wasn't sure, is it my excitement or the red flags that is making me worried? The caller actually enticed Lindsay more and said that if you can show us a house today, we will buy immediately. And Lindsay said to her, I don't have any properties on my book at the moment, but I will show you something. So Lindsay went about her day. Lindsay was also in the process of planning her friend's baby shower. So she had dinner with Jason's mom that night, and she told Jason's mom about this weird call that she had. Jason's mom actually said to her, let me take this client because I know you still have to do the baby shower. You can't be at two places at once. And Lindsay, I think, wanted to prove to everybody that she can break through in this industry. So she said to Jason's mom, that's fine, I can do it myself. She later on told in the 24 hours after the call, there were so many people that she told that she finds this very strange and that she is a bit scared. She asked in the office, did any of you refer me to someone? Did anybody get a call like this? And nobody knew who referred this person to Lindsay. Lindsay found a beautiful place. It really looks like an amazing property. And it was Jason's mom who walked in at the end of the conversation where Lindsay told the caller that she has found a property. The property was, I'm going to read the address, 1702 D'Souza Place. And also what this caller specifically asked was for a property in a cul-de-sac. So this was in a cul-de-sac. It was newly built. It had all the bedrooms, all the bathrooms, all the amenities. It had a swimming pool. It had everything. So Lindsay was also very excited because it's exactly what they wanted. And they agreed on a time to meet at this place. She told Jason that she made an appointment for the next day. So we are now on the third day, and she said to him she's made this appointment, but she still feels very uneasy about it. So Jason insisted. He said, let me do the deal for you. You can still get the deal under your name, but let me do the showing. And Lindsay said, no, I don't want to do it that way. And then Jason said, at the least, I'm going to be outside the house. When you need me, I'm there. And after a lot of tussle back and forth, Lindsay agreed, and she said to Jason, okay, that's fine. As long as you don't interfere, you can stay outside, stay far away from the house. I don't want you close, but I want to know at least that someone is there when I need them. A very interesting clue in this case was that on the day of the showing, Jason was at home and Lindsay was not at home. And this client called on their landline. Jason was surprised, and he also described this lady as somebody with a very thick Mexican accent. He said to her, Lindsay is not home. Can I give you her cell phone number? And then this person said, no worries, I have it. What court documents later revealed is that after this call on that cell phone, there was a 10-minute call to an unknown number and then a call to Lindsay's number. And the cell phone is very significant because it's one of the huge twists in this case, and we're going to get to that also a little bit later. The day of the incident was a Saturday, and Lindsay was at the Remax office. Witnesses later said at 2 o'clock, Lindsay really started to freak out. And I wonder why her sense was so strong about there is something wrong with these people. Because she asked 2 of the receptionists to search these clients' names. She gave it to them. She didn't write it in her planner because they couldn't remember who it was. She asked them to check it, and there was no record of these people on the system. At 3 o'clock, Lindsay and Jason went for lunch. Jason said he remembered that Lindsay was eating very quickly, which wasn't normal for her, and she showed him the house that she's going to show the clients and just kind of role played with him the dialogue with the clients. He again asked her, let me do it for you or let me go with you, and she again declined for Jason to help her or to show the house to these unknown people. As in most cases when somebody is murdered, the person closest to them will be the suspect. So Jason was naturally the first suspect. I know we haven't gotten to the act yet, but Jason's actions from when he left for lunch until they discovered Lindsay's body was very important to the police. And luckily for Jason, each and everything that he did was caught by CCTV cameras. After lunch, he went to an auto shop. His friend who plays hockey with him called him several times. The friend wanted to do something. Jason said, I can't. I have to be there for Lindsay. I want to be there at 5. And he actually said to the friend, if you want to see me, meet me at the auto shop. The friend did. He arrived at the auto shop and they left together in Jason's Range Rover. Now, everything, even up until where he parked a block away from the house, was proven. It is now the late afternoon of Saturday, and Jason and his friend are on their way to the house that Lindsay was going to show. She texted Jason the address, and she said to him, please, I'm on my way there. And it was just before 5:30 or 17:30 that she arrived at the property. Jason sent her a message and he said to her, I'm on my way, because he was a little bit late. The reason why Jason was so late is because the area where the property was that Lindsay was going to show to the people was so new that the Range Rover's GPS did not pick it up yet. So he did have some challenges to get to the point. And all of these things to me are just so baffling that it seems like everything worked into the hands of the murderer. No GPS directions, the phone call, such a precise description of a house having to be in a cul-de-sac. I get so angry when things work out for the bad people, but it seems like in this case, at that point, everything worked out for the bad people. Even though it was a very new area, there were eyewitnesses walking in the street at that time of the day. And the eyewitnesses said that they saw, round about the time when Lindsay said, "Oh, I have to go," that a car pulling up, a man and a woman getting out of the car, Lindsay greeting the people, the couple, and showing them into the house. Now, here is one of the crucial clues that they had, is that all the eyewitnesses could describe this very distinctive dress that the woman was wearing. It's the dress that will be on your screen now. It's not a dress that was in the shops at that time in that area. So that dress is very, very significant to this case. They explained that the man was tall, dark, he had a suit on, and they looked like a couple who wants to view a house. And they saw how Lindsay went into the house and closed the door behind them. In the meantime, Jason texted Lindsay, "Please text me the directions." So now they walk into the door. They open the door. Lindsay asked them, "Please take your shoes off because the floors are brand new." Eyewitnesses could see because the front door had a see-through glass, and the three of them took off their shoes, and Lindsay then texted Jason the directions, and she also said, "It's going to start now." Jason called his brother Ryan. He said to him, "How do I get to this place? I have to get there. Lindsay is already in the house. She's showing the property." Ryan explained to him. As they walked, the three, Lindsay and the $1 million couple, Lindsay walked up the stairs because when you walk into the house, there's a staircase on your right-hand side. Their shoes were taken off. If you've never been in a tour of a house, the estate agent tells you how beautiful this is, how wonderful and practical that is. So Lindsay was going on about the features of the house. Lindsay was attacked the moment she entered that ensuite bathroom. She was stabbed from behind. It's such a merciless, cowardly thing to do. And she wasn't just stabbed by one of the two, both of them murdered her. She frantically fought back. In the fight, her phone made a pocket dial to one of her friends, and the friend could only hear muffled sound. But there were so many cuts and nicks on Lindsay's body. The room had a white carpet, and the scene was really, really horrendous. The suspect stabbed Lindsay in her back, in her chest, in her abdomen. They made sure that she would not leave that house. And immediately after doing this, what they did, they ran downstairs, put their shoes on. When they were putting their shoes on, Jason's car drove past the front door. He locked eyes with this guy putting his shoes on. The guy's hand was on the door to go out, but then as his eyes locked with Jason, he pulled the door close, and him and his partner ran out the back and jumped the fence, and they were gone. Jason, meantime, with his friend, parked at the corner, and they were waiting for Lindsay to give them a call to come in to the house. Jason respected Lindsay's wish that she didn't want him to be seen. It mustn't be obvious that he's there to protect her. Remember, he thought now the showing is going on because he saw the man at the front door and it looked as if the guy was closing the door. He was texting Lindsay, "Are you okay? What's going on? I'm not hearing from you." There was nothing back from Lindsay. And it was at 6 o'clock that he said to his friend, "I am now going into that house. I don't care what Lindsay says, I'm worried." He then actually drove closer to the house, and he wanted to go into the front door. The front door was locked now, which wasn't supposed to be locked. That was one of the rules, that you don't lock a door when you are showing a house. Jason called his mom. He said to his mom, "Who is the principal agent on this place? I need to know how to get in here." And his friend said to him, "No ways, we're not going to wait for the agent. Let's jump the wall at the back and let's get in through the back." So the friend jumped the wall and he got into the house somehow, and he opened the door for Jason. And when Jason walked in, he saw a scene that I think nobody wants to ever see in their life. On the right-hand side of the doorway was Lindsay's shoes that she took off, and there was a trail of bloody footprints from the carpet to the back door. And that is when he realized there is something very, very wrong with this scene. He later on told the police that he immediately ran upstairs to the main bedroom. He was asked why did he know to go to the main bedroom. He just said it was instinctively. He went over Lindsay with what she was going to say to them, what she was going to show them. He probably knew that the main bedroom was going to be the first place. And that is where he found the terribly slaughtered body of his girlfriend, Lindsay Buziak. While Jason was trying to save his girlfriend's life, his 24-year-old, beautiful, vivacious, positive, dynamic girlfriend, his friend at 6:11 called 911 and explained to them what happened. And his friend had said afterwards that Jason was devastated. It was really heartbreaking to see Jason in this setup. Lindsay's mother has distanced herself from the father's opinions and efforts because he has actually done a lot in trying to solve his daughter's murder. And one of the issues that the dad had, and I totally agree, was that the police had apparently no forensic evidence at the scene. There was nothing. And according to them, only one weapon was used, which is very strange if you think about the amount of damage that was done to her body in the short amount of time. And everybody saw two people go in the house with her. So the father has relentlessly fought for new DNA methods to be used. Now let's look at what the police believed and what the family has also believed are crucial suspects in this case. I did allude to it earlier that the boyfriend or the husband or the partner is always the first suspect, and true to this case it was. They grilled Jason. I think they actually hoped in a sense that it was Jason because then they could feel safe and they could tell everybody that they had their guy. But everything that Jason said checked out. His cell phone pinged at the towers where he said he was. He was really devastated. His life was rattled when this happened. And Sarah, Lindsay's sister, said that she worked with him and it was genuine. It was genuine grief. It wasn't an act. On this part, Lindsay's father doesn't agree. He has said that he feels that Jason hasn't really shown any emotions and that he feels that there's a possibility that Jason may know something. The police has, however, cleared Jason, and Jason is not a suspect anymore. A very interesting theory in this case was that there was a drug cartel involved in Lindsay's death. Now, the reason for that is because of the way that Lindsay was murdered. It was well planned, it was well executed, there was no evidence left anywhere. And in December of the year before, Lindsay visited Calgary. She had a good time. She visited old friends of hers, and she came back to her dad and she said to him she has seen things that she should not have seen. The word on the street then was, after her murder, that she saw drug-related activities, because in January of 2008, before her murder, there was a massive drug bust linked to this group of friends that Lindsay visited. Lindsay was not a drug user, and remember, she said that that was one of the things that she liked about Jason, because he doesn't use drugs. The drug angle was investigated, and it wasn't found to be true, because the planning of Lindsay's murder happened long before her visit to Calgary. And the reason why they said that is because when they started investigating this cell phone number, they found that this cell phone was bought 6 months prior to the murder, and it was only activated on the day that they called Lindsay to request for a house, and never again. It was the request, it was the appointment, and that cell phone has been switched off and has never again been used, or ever before that day. Another theory in the case that is supported by a lot of people, I don't really believe this angle, is that Jason's mother orchestrated the whole thing. I don't know why. Lindsay's father has got a whole theory about why he thinks it's the mom. There was a police investigation. She is a very powerful woman. She's a very good businesswoman. She's got a lot of influence in the town. She's got a lot of people working for her legitimately. And I think the theory came from where the father said the soon-to-be mother-in-law tried to steal Lindsay away. And he is saying that Lindsay didn't want to move to the lake house, and that the mom was also jealous of Lindsay. There was a lot of circumstantial claims made, but the police also cleared her. And as I said earlier, there's been a lot of defamation cases between Lindsay's father and Jason's mom. The one sues the other, then the other sues that one. When we talk about the identikit that was drawn up, remember we had the dress, and then we had a few people who saw the two people meeting with Lindsay. Now, if I can read to you what they said. Sergeant John Price, he's the police spokesperson, he said that the lady is a Caucasian woman of 35 to 45 years old with short blonde hair. Now remember, Lindsay said this person has got a very thick Spanish accent. That's what Jason also said. Police said that the male suspects, also believed to be Caucasian, 6 feet tall with dark hair. Both were described as well dressed. The man was wearing a light to medium colored jacket, and the woman was wearing that very distinctive dress that I told you about. Another interesting thing, but there's a lot of question marks around this. There's some people who claim that this is not true, but I'm mentioning it anyway because it's so bizarre, is that somebody who knows Lindsay's father bought a similar dress like that in a thrift shop in the area, and they brought it to Jeff and they said, this is the dress, because it's in a thrift shop and maybe They got rid of it. They went to the police with this dress. They asked the police to investigate, but the police said, "You are grasping at straws." With so many suspects, with witnesses, with identikits, up until today, there is no one that has been arrested. The police still sees it as an active case. Lindsay's father, every year he does some awareness campaign. You can go and look at the Lindsay Buziak website. They have a place for people to give tips. There's a lot of things about Jeff Buziak that you can read. I think he's a very intense person. I think people got hurt and people said a lot of things. Lindsay's murder has also caused a rift between Lindsay's father and the mother and Sarah, because they do believe that Jason and his mom is innocent, while the father feels that they have a hand in this. So please go and have a look at Jeff's YouTube. He's got YouTube videos. He's got a website. He wants people to spitball with him and say, what about this? What about this? What about that? There's a lot more information there, a lot more about the phone, a lot more about the specific friends that they had. Lindsay's mom has said that the murder of her daughter has taken a toll on her. And you can just see the joy is not there anymore. And she just wants this resolved. She just wants those people who are responsible to be caught, and so that this chapter can be closed. And that is the very tragic, the very sad and horrendous case of the murder of Lindsay Buziak. Do you think this case is solvable? And what kind of information or tips or evidence do you think the police need to solve this case? Who do you think they should look at? Do you think they did enough at the crime scene? Tell me in the comments below. I want to also thank you so much for your response to last week's video about the missing Veronique Adams. And I want to ask you to please keep on sharing her missing poster. It's never done. It's only done until Veronique is reunited with her family. Also remember to join the Facebook page. On the Facebook page, you can get her missing poster and you can be updated about when videos will be released. Thank you again so much for all the likes, all the subscribes, all the shares, all the comments. It all bumps the video up in the algorithm. And as I said, it's not only about the subscribers. It's really about helping, about informing, and making a difference. I want to also again say, please don't ignore the red flags. I think if we can count how many times Lindsay said to someone, I am feeling uneasy about this, it would be more than 100 times. So again, like I said in my other videos, teach your children to recognize red flags, listen to your red flags, and stay suspicious. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. If a place doesn't feel safe, don't go there. Get in your car or get in a bus or just get away. Thank you for joining me on this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Next week will be a South African case again. I believe that it's also a case that we could help with. It's a missing persons case, and I'm looking forward to bring you that information. Please let me know if there are any other cases. I do have your list of everything that you have sent me, but let me know if there are any South African, African, or international cases that you would like me to cover. I'm looking forward to hearing your comments and your suggestions, and I wish you all the best. Bye-bye.